Welcome to Readability. I'm your host, Ashley Kelson. In Readability, we read all kinds of stories, from short storybooks to large chapter books. You could sit down with family or just lay back and relax. Every Saturday, we read, review, and recommend different books for your listening pleasure. I really hope you enjoy Readability. Let's get started. Hello and welcome, folks, to Readability. As always, I am your host, Ashley. Yes, I will admit we are doing another PJO book, but I promise that we won't be doing a similar book next week. This week's episode is different, though. I have a close friend with me as a special guest, and I'm excited to do this episode because this is one of my favorite books in the series, The Last Olympian by Rick Riordan, the finale of the PJO series. If you haven't listened to the previous episodes about Percy Jackson and the Olympians, make sure to go ahead and listen to them before this one. Now, I hope you guys are ready because without further ado, let's get on to the guest introduction. Alrighty, so our guest today is my dear friend Fifi. Feel free to introduce yourself.
Hey guys, it's me, Fifi. You may know me from Rocketology. In my podcast, I mainly focus on astronomy, but what you may not know is that I also read Percy Jackson. As much as I love space and cannot stop talking about it, I also love chattering about PJO. When Ashley asked me if I wanted to join her, I was honored.
Oh, that's great to hear. I am so happy to have you. So, let's just get right into the review. Great. Thank you. Sorry about that. In the finale of the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, we see Percy in his car. Wow, he has grown a lot from the first book, driving with Rachel Elizabeth Dare. While on the ridge overlooking the sea, Percy and Rachel talk, like friends, of course. Suddenly, Charles Beckendorf arrives and informs Percy that they must go to the Princess Andromeda. That's how I pronounce it, right? I'm not going crazy. Yeah. Rachel makes a bold move by kissing him goodbye.
Which is infuriating to fans of Percy Jackson, knowing Annabeth and Percy's relationship.
Yep.
So after that, they try to sneak into Princess Andromeda. They try to go unnoticed, but a monster finds them. Alarms are ringing, and Beckendorf goes to blow up the ship with Percy. Down in the engine room, Charles says that he will stay down and meet Percy at the top. Does Beckendorf come back? Well, anyways, back to you, Ashley.
Thanks a lot. Well, time passes and we're back at Camp Half-Blood. Percy soon finds out that Grover has disappeared mysteriously without any trace. Anyways, Nika confronts Percy on his plan to defeat Luke/Kronos, if you didn't know that. And they set off on Mrs. O'Leary to find out more about Luke's past. This means going to May Castellan's house, Luke's mother.
Well, what do we find out? May's nuts.
Wow.
After that, they go to the underworld, and Percy bathes in the river Styx. Crazy, right? I'm going to skip a lot, but the whole city of Manhattan is asleep. This is where the battle begins.
Let's do this!
Rick is a fantastic author, not gonna lie. This was the first series to make me cry, so thank you for giving me the feels.
Agreed. I loved this ending, and is the best ending to a series like this, in my opinion. The humor, the action, the romance. It was just a fantastic roller coaster of emotions, like you said.
I couldn't agree more, Ashley. I give this book 5 out of 5. I love this book so much, and I was not disappointed. They balanced humor, action, and emotion perfectly in this book. There were many parts I loved, like when Nico said, "With great power comes great need to take a nap."
Yes,
I could relate to that on a spiritual level. Also, Percy and Annabeth's underwater kiss, that made me squeal.
Right?
I must say, Percabeth is the backbone of this nation. The Last Olympian was one of the best books I've ever read. Hands down.
Yes, exactly my thoughts. I love this book so much as to give it a 5 out of 5 stars. It was that good. The humor, the action, the everything. I love Percy and Annabeth and how much they've grown since the Lightning Thief. And it's mind-blowing how all the battle scenes were written. The deaths were so sad. I cried a river after reading this book. And that's a good thing because this book was so excellent.
Yep.
Time for the spoiler section of the episode. We talk about our favorite parts of this book, so please make sure you've read this book before listening to this segment. Ready, Fifi?
Of course.
Okay, I will start. First, Percy and Annabeth's relationship grew in the book, a lot. As we've seen from the previous books, the two have been slowly becoming friends to lovers, and it's heartwarming to read about the underwater kiss they share near the end of the book was just great.
All of the deaths were so heartbreaking, especially Luke's. Like, why would you give a character the redemption arc it deserves just to kill them off?
Right?
Also, I tried to avoid talking about Beckendorf's death and save it for this segment, but it was so hard. I was so sad when he died. Ethan Nakamura's death was heartbreaking because it was also after his character development.
Yes.
But the good thing is that they all died heroes.
Also, Selena Beauregard, when she announced that she was the spy for Luke/Kronos, I wasn't expecting that. I don't know about you. Were you expecting that?
Nope.
Yeah, of all people, Selena to betray her friends and send information to Kronos. She did die as a hero by sacrificing herself, by getting poisoned by the Draken, not dragon, Draken. Her last words were so painful to read because even though she did betray everyone, she ended up doing something good.
Yeah. When Rachel became the new Oracle for Camp Half-Blood, that was an exciting part of the book. Because I was still slightly mad that Rachel kissed Percy, but then I started to appreciate her more when she became the Oracle. I'm also so glad that Annabeth and Rachel were able to become friends.
Yes.
Happy she doesn't know what Rachel did. That would be bad.
It would be bad. Yes! Fifi, if you don't know, the character thoughts are my favorite segment of the episode.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes, it is. And you can start. Talk about any characters you love and maybe ones you disliked. There's a lot.
Well, there's many characters I love. Who to talk about first? How about our main man, Percy Jackson?
Right?
He has grown so much throughout the series, and he's so funny. Nico D'Angelo is honestly my favorite character. The way he changed was so sad. I feel so sad for him, but to me, he's one of the most powerful characters, physically and emotionally. I dislike Kronos, of course, because he and his army caused nearly all of the character deaths in the series.
Right? And those are some great points. I really liked Luke's character development throughout the series. In the beginning, and by beginning I mean the Lightning Thief, we knew Luke as this horrible and evil guy who betrayed Percy. But near the end, and by end I mean the Last Olympian, he ended up being the hero of the whole series. I really enjoyed that out of Luke. A little bit of the same with Ethan. He had some significant side change, if you know what I mean. I love Annabeth. She has always my favorite character throughout these books, and she is a fantastic role model. I love her character development, and it is so fascinating how she can adapt to situations so quickly, you know what I mean? My least favorite character, and I agree, it's Kronos. Do I really need to explain? I mean, you basically described it in one sentence.
Yep.
And I can't talk about characters without talking about Percy Jackson. Wow, he has grown so much, and that's very admirable. I love him so much, and he's the main character for a reason.
I agree with everything you said, Ashley.
Thank you.
Well, Ashley, it's been great.
I couldn't agree more. If you have anything extra to say, feel free to.
Thanks for having me, Ashley. Remember to check out my podcast, Rocketology, and have a great day or night.
Thank you so much for joining me. Well, without further ado, let's get on to the official readability ending. thank you for joining me, your host, Ashley Kelson, on Readability. It has been a really great time, and I hope you join me again next week. Remember, every Saturday we either read, review, or recommend a book for your listening pleasure. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Keep reading, folks. Bye!